What is going on? It says I am live currently. Just want to make sure. Okay, this is my camera. I am live. I apologize for the technical difficulties once some people roll in. StreamYard is the service that I use to do my live streams with my guests. And unfortunately, they went down right when me and Resale Brothers went to go live. So I popped this one on so I can still answer some questions for you guys. I'm going to get rescheduled with them. Really quick, I'm going to figure out how to share the stream and go post that in the other one. Had to move to a new live stream at the link above. Okay, hopefully some people can pop in here. Let me know if you can see and hear me in the chat on the side here. Once again, I apologize for the clunky start here. The service I use went down at the exact time we went to go live, so just unfortunate timing. I wanted to let the Resale Brothers go because I'd already used up a little bit of their time, and I couldn't get the service where we could both be on there together working. So I just really quickly hopped into a new software that's only for solo, but I wanted to be able to answer your guys' questions since we already had some people waiting in the chat. So I just wanted to, yeah, hop on here, still value you guys' time, answer some questions, and I'll reschedule with them very soon because even in the few minutes before the stream, just chit chatting with them, I really enjoyed it. Great guys, awesome business, and yeah, just apologize for the technical difficulties, running a little bit behind here. But if you have some questions, definitely leave them in the chat. I'd love to answer you guys' questions, help you guys out with your business here in the next little while. Probably won't stay on too long, maybe 30 minutes or so. I got to get back to work. Got all my packages right here. I just finished packing up right before the stream. I got one bag, 2 IKEA bags going out today. So over the last few days, I've been filming a thrifting video, and I'm trying to work on my confidence filming out in public. Feels so awkward. But ironically enough, I had my worst day thrifting ever. I was out for I think 4 or 5 hours, and I got 12 items. So that was brutal. All right. Let's see here. You can hear me good, and sound and picture is great. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, Rhiannon. And Blaisley, thanks for being in here. All right. If you guys have any questions, definitely leave them in the chat. I would be happy to answer those for you guys. Definitely bummed I'm not able to chit chat more with the Resale brothers, some fellow Ohioans. We were just talking a little bit before. Really nice guys. Really enjoy seeing them succeed on YouTube. And obviously in their business. I think it's pretty cool. What we were going to be talking about, and I'm going to save this topic for then, was the difference between reselling part-time and reselling full-time. And what we were talking about a little bit before the stream was actually I would consider the Resale brothers beyond full-time because they have they've actually built a business where you could hire people to do certain roles and carry that on without just, all of them having all of the knowledge and knowing how to do every single thing just themselves. And I think that's really cool, building a business that's bigger than just what they can physically do in one day. Since I made that video, I was gonna turn that into a little thrifting video, but since there's not any questions coming in, what I'll do for the few people that are in here is I will just go over the items that I picked up today and do a little bit of a thrift haul from what I just picked up this morning. My goal was to get 18 items, and I got a little bit more than that, but some of them needed, stains treated and stuff like that, so I'm not able to list them right away. But I'm gonna wheel my cart over, and we'll jump into it. I do have a couple fun items I got over the last few days. These are vintage Columbia like hunting pants, overalls. They have the little straps on the top. And I also got the matching jacket. The jacket, there was comps for like 80 to 100 bucks on the jacket. I didn't comp these out because they were only $6, so I knew they'd be good. So I'm excited to get these listed and see what these are actually worth. And another really cool item I got is this full. It's so big. Still going. This full Cabela's frog skin camo, hunter orange, goose down filled Gore-Tex. I mean, this thing's crazy. Made in USA. I paid 26 bucks for it. Would you have picked this up for 26 bucks? Not a lot of good comps to go off of from what I was typing in. But from my experience, those are just killer items. So even at 26 bucks, like I would be very surprised if that was less than 100 bucks. So maybe I wasn't typing in the right thing, but I definitely wasn't leaving it for my competition to pick that up. Toad says, "Yay, we made it. Hey, nice to see you in here. I don't think I've seen you in a live, so I'm glad you're here." Michelle Marshall, only 12. Mama said there would be days like these. Mama ain't kidding. Okay, I think we might have our first question here. And once again, because I'm not able to use my software, I can't click the button and get the thing on the screen. So I'll just read it out loud here for you. Cindy says, "Hi, Caleb. I'm new at eBay and listed a couple of things. Good job for getting started. That's the hardest part. Does it take eBay a bit for items to go live? And do they send me a confirmation every time an item goes live?" I think that's an email setting. You can have it set so they email you every single time you have a listing go live. But really, as soon as you hit submit listing, I think that's what it says at the bottom. Submit your listing. As soon as you hit that, it's live on eBay. Now, of course, it may take a little while to start seeing traffic on that item or sales on your eBay store. But yeah, it's pretty quick. As soon as you hit submit, you could go to search and be able to find your item. I don't really recommend searching your own item because that just kind of messes with the algorithm. Um, but it's up there. Wendy's in the chat. What's up, Wendy? She said, "I hit the mother load at Plato's yesterday. Four loudmouth golf shorts, a new to me brand, ASRV." What is ASRV? Let me know what ASRV is. But yeah, loudmouth golf shorts are amazing. I'm curious what you paid for them. Some of the patterns and styles can go for really crazy money, but even the baseline value is, it's pretty much automatic pickup at any like typical thrift price. But I'm curious if at Plato's, like if they had them at like 20 bucks or 25 bucks, I'd have to comp it out because I've never found the shorts. I found my first pair of loudmouth golf pants like, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. Or wait, not 2 weeks ago, like a month ago. It was on my recent what sold video because they sold for like 40 bucks in like a day. Blazely says, "What are your thoughts about reselling hats? My thrift has them for $1." Hats are a slower selling category, in my opinion. There now, of course, in every category, there are hats that will sell instantly for a certain price, and there are some hats that sell for crazy money and sell fast. But I would say, like in general, hats are a slower selling category because tons of them are made, tons of them are available on eBay, and the market is pretty small in comparison to that. But it's something that is a great long tail item if you're getting it cheap. So I don't pick up a lot of them for my business model. I try to keep items moving as quickly as possible. But for $1, if it's a good hat, um, you really can't go wrong only spending $1 on something if you have the space to store it and it fits your business model. Wendy says performance long sleeve. Oh, the brand ASRV. Sorry, I thought you meant that had something to do with the loudmouth golf shorts was ASRV. That's why I got confused. Okay, ASRV is a new to me brand, so we'll have to look that up. I wish I was on the normal software. I could pull up my little screen here and we could do some research on that, but I'll definitely be looking it up if I see ASRV. $8, yeah, that's a steal for anything loudmouth. I'd be picking it up for $8. I actually saw a polo that was like a plain color for like $8, and I did leave it because the plain color ones were not selling very quickly, obviously, because they're known for like the super loud patterns. Michael says, Caleb, what type of ruler do you use for your clothing pictures? It's just a basic yardstick. I think mine is from Lowe's. Yep, just a Lowe's yardstick. How many pictures do I take for a normal shirt? Shirts are one of the items I take the least photos of, but for all of my items, I take an average of like 10 pictures. So, like when I select all the pictures on my phone to send them to my computer, if I have like 167 pictures, it's usually either 16 or 17 items. So I average about 10 per item. A little bit more on pants because I take some extra measurements because I don't like to answer questions. And then shirts, I really only take the shoulder to hem, so the length. I feel like I need to be like up here because you can't see where I'm pointing here. And then I take the armpit to armpit on shirts. So I do a front, a close up, any details or graphics, the two pictures of the measurements, and the back of the shirt, and the like tag or material tag. So usually like 6 photos for a shirt. But if it's like has lots of unique details, I could be taking tons of pictures. And if it doesn't have, you know, many details, sometimes it'll just be like 5 pictures, and I'll just blow through it. LF says, "Sorry if you've answered this question a million times. That's totally fine. That's what we're here to do is just answer the questions that you guys have. So no problem." How many items do you list a day, and do you ever worry about having enough inventory? I always worry about having enough. I'm currently listing 18 items per day, 7 days a week. And with the season changing in my area, I'm finding it very difficult to find enough inventory. So I definitely can relate to that. I've never really had that problem in my business until like maybe the last 2 weeks or so. So I'm going to start working on some additional sourcing routes, additional sourcing methods outside of just thrifting, trying out the flea market, um, those kinds of things, and figure out the problem. So I'm in the same boat. I used to have like not really a death pile, but I used to have like extra inventory on hand, and that was kind of nice because if I ever didn't like couldn't have the time to go sourcing or had a really bad sourcing day, I had that to fall back on. But probably for the last like 6 months, I've just been listing the items as fast as I can get them, which is a good thing because I think it's nice to not have like money sitting in inventory that's not listed. But at the same time, I do kind of miss having that little, you know, backup amount of inventory in case I have a couple weeks like the last couple weeks. Michael says, last thing, thoughts on using promoted listings for a new user? Also, does eBay charge me upfront for the promoted listing or taken out after the sale? Yeah, Michael, that's a good question. Promoted listing fees come once the item's already sold. So you don't have to pay up anything in the front. You don't have to pay anything up front. Sorry, mixing up my words today. And thoughts on using promoted listings? I highly recommend promoting your listings. It's a tool that eBay gives us that we can pay a little bit and automatically get more traffic on our items. So to me, it seems like a very worthwhile trade. I would experiment with starting with a very low percent. Maybe 2 is the minimum, maybe do 2 or 2.5, and then slowly increase it until you find the sweet spot. Where I'm at is 5%. I find that's the right balance of I'm selling items quick enough, but I'm not giving away unnecessary fees. Toad's got to go. Nice to see you in here. And you'll see me on the replay. I won't see you, but maybe in the comment section. Have a great day. AJ says, "Do you believe in year-round listing or seasonal listing? Also, on top of death pile, at what point do you get rid on the topic of death pile, at what point do you get rid of old inventory?" I have some items that I have listed that are quite old, like over a year or so. And I'm just trying to get them sold, like some of them I have marked down to like 2, 3 bucks plus shipping in my store. And I just, would rather sell them for 2, 3 bucks than have to just donate them or throw them away if they're like not even worth anybody wearing. Cause, year and a half ago, I wasn't sourcing as well as I source now. So definitely had to have some bad items. But honestly, I could probably take the like 20 oldest items in my store and just donate them or throw them away. And it probably would help my business more than it would hurt. But I don't know if there's necessarily a set rule. Like I currently list items about as sell items about as fast as I can list them. So I have close to 100% sell through rate in my store in 90 days. So that's including some of those items that are like a year old. So at that point, I probably need to cut my losses because if I'm averaging selling items in 90 days now, I could probably just, buy more items doing that. And then as far as listing all year or seasonal listing, what I do is I buy good items all year long. The best items of every season are going to sell all year long, but the mid tier items are going to sell best in season. So what I do is I buy good items all year long, and then I prioritize listing the items that are in season because that's what's going to be most beneficial to the sales price of those items and the sales speed of those items. So if I see a Carhartt jacket in the middle of summer, I'm still going to buy it because that's an amazing item, but I'm going to make sure all my golf shorts and golf polos are listed before I list that. But if I get to that and list it, it's still a good item, still putting it in my store, and I don't mind doing that either. AJ says, "Huge fan. Thank you for your videos. They've helped me a lot." You're very welcome. That's why I'm doing it. LF, thanks for the answer. You're welcome. Wendy says, "I have been buying sandals to get enough items to meet my listing goals." Yeah, I mean, if I found good sandals, I would pick those up. The way I see it, hey Caleb, big fan. On average, how much do jeans pants fall in value during the warmer months? I think jeans and pants actually are one of the categories that doesn't really go as up and down with the seasons, because a lot of people wear jeans all year round, even in the summer, and a lot of people wear jeans in the winter. So I think that that's one of the few categories that has the less of the roller coaster with the seasons. So I would say probably doesn't affect it too much. Donan, what's up? Had a rough day at the thrift, only 9 items in 4 hours. Oh, were you here when I was saying what my week was like? I went yesterday for 5 hours and got 12 items. So basically the same pace. It is rough when you're really going that slow. Hurts. It hurts. Sam says, "How many active listings do you currently have in your store?" I right now I'm kind of in between like 12 and 1300. It keeps going up and down, and then depending on how much I sell and how much I list, it's kind of in that range right now. It should be going up, because I'm currently selling a little bit less than my listing goal, because I'm trying to or raise my sales price a little bit, be a little bit more stingy on offers because I have the luxury of having a high sell through rate store. I know I can get those items sold quicker if needed. So I'm just trying to squeak out a little bit more per item right now, as kind of an experiment to see how that affects my cash flow and my business. Pat D says, "New to reselling, retired, and thought this was good for me. Do not have a store yet, about 30 items listed, sourcing 4 to 5 days, and I am behind on listing them. Any rule or advice on starting one?" So I don't really have the problem of death pile or not doing my listings. I've had listings go live in my store every single day without a single day missed for over a year now. I'm on like 14 months of having listings going live in my day every single day, no exceptions. And that's not like patting myself on the back. I just use the method of scheduling ahead and being really disciplined with my listing goal. So I don't really have that problem of not getting things listed. Like I literally was sourcing this morning for items I needed to list today because I was short on items. So my cart's usually over here, but it's actually right here now because I was going to do some thrifted items if there weren't any questions. But all these items right here, I bought them this morning and they'll be listed today and tomorrow, scheduled ahead. As far as a rule or advice, I would say figure out how many items you're able to source on average in a week and then divide that by how many days there are. And then figure out what a realistic listing goal per day is. And say it's 4 items per day. Make sure that you're listing 4 items per day. If you list more than 4 items, you're starting to work ahead towards the next day. So maybe you don't list every single day, but if you do 8 listings in one day, that's 2 days worth of listings. And try to treat the same way I'm doing 18 per day, 7 days a week. Maybe you need to be doing 4 per day, or maybe it's 10, or maybe it's one. But find a number that you feel comfortable with doing every single day and just doing that and doing that and doing that. And if you do more than that, schedule it ahead to the next day and the following day. Um, and really, what I tell people is yes, that does help the algorithm. But the main reason I do that has nothing to do with the algorithm. It has to do with my own personal accountability. If I don't have a goal that I'm shooting for every single day, I'm going to list way less items. If I have a goal every single day that I'm going to hit, because I'm a self disciplined and self motivated person, I'm going to make sure I hit that goal. So that would be my advice is setting your daily goal. And then even when you go past that, don't just take the next day off, but schedule your listings out in advance so you can really um, work on getting ahead. And then once you get, say, like you're 2 weeks ahead, then you can say, hey, if I'm 2 weeks ahead, that means I can probably bump my listing goal from 4 up to 6. And when you're at that scale, that's like a 33% increase on your business, which is a huge increase, or 50%, because you're going from 4 and you're adding another 50% on top. So little changes when you're small can make a huge difference over the course of a year. For me, if I went from 18 items to 19 items, I don't know if I'd even really see that difference. But if I went from 18 items to 25 items, I would see a huge difference in my business. AJ says, I want to start buying more Ralph Lauren items because I see a lot of button down long sleeves and polos in my thrift stores. Do you have any quick tips on which ones I should be investing in? My quick tips would be anytime I'm looking at the shirt section, I always start from the biggest sizes and work to the smallest sizes. So, especially in Polo Ralph Lauren, your 2XLT, 3XLT, 4XLT, great sizes. 2XL is kind of on that cutoff. If it's a good item and it's 2XL, that kind of pushes it over the edge to me. If it's super basic, and then maybe price is like another factor in there, but 2XL is kind of like that borderline size. XL, large, and medium all are relatively the same in Polo Ralph Lauren. They're mostly saturated, but 2XL is kind of in between. 3XL, 4XL, and if you can go bigger, like 5XB, 6XB, 3XB, all those abnormal big sizes are excellent sizes. So that'd be the quickest, easiest thing I would say. Especially talking shirts and polos, long sleeve polos that have rubber buttons, those are called rugby shirts. Those sell really well. Um, when the pony has it's like colorful, like the pony is actually like brown and the person has like a flesh tone and whatever else. That's called a flesh pony logo. Those ones are a little bit better. So if that was like XL to XL or bigger, I'd pick up a flesh pony for a reasonable thrift price. Those are just a couple off the top of my head. The nice thing about Ralph Lauren is like it is relatively easy to find, but like there's so many unique pieces and the unique stuff really does sell well. Also new with tags, like Ralph Lauren new with tags flies off the shelf for me. What's my opinion on Untuck It and David Donahue shirts? Should I be picking them up? I pick up good patterns and sizes in those types of brands. Ones that are good pattern and good size, not just one or the other. David Donahue, I think, is still a little bit better sell through rate wise than Untuckit, so I'd be more likely to pick up one of those. Nice thing about those is that they have sleeve lengths as well, and the sleeve lengths have very different sell through rates among the sleeve lengths. That's like a tongue twister. So I would recommend if you see a David Donahue and it's the dress shirt model where it has the like neck size and sleeve length size, like 1735 or whatever. Look it up, including the sleeve length size, and that will help you figure out the sell through rate on that item. And some of those sleeve length sizes have way better sell through rates. And thank you so much for the super chat, AJ. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for asking the questions, and I'm happy to help you out as much as I can. Do you have a draft bank for days out of town? Yes. I actually don't do draft bank method. I do scheduling my listings. So it's the same thing though. So I'll just schedule my listings. My trash truck is going right now. So I apologize if you guys can hear that. It's like right outside my garage door banging around. But I'll just schedule 18 listings per day and I'll just schedule those days in advance. So if I'm going on vacation, eBay is not going to know any difference as far as my listings are concerned. Now, of course, I do have to put on time away mode so that I don't have to ship or change my handling time. So I'm not shipping while I'm gone, but I'm still getting, plenty of impressions with brand new listings. The way I see it says one of my best days at the thrift ever. Half off Salvation Army, 20 items for $53. Multiple Patagucci's, Peter Millar, Summer Comfort, Bonobos pants, and a Dior tie. I'm jealous. I've been out here striking out, and your Barry Bonds just home run. I love to see it though. Steel Thunder says, "Is there a difference with the algorithm in regards to draft banks versus scheduled listings?" I wouldn't have any idea because I've always scheduled mine, but I don't find that I have a hard time with the algorithm personally. Brenda says, "Do you have a storage unit or do you keep your items at home?" I have a storage unit. It's about the size of a two-car garage. It's way more than what I need, but I'm locked in at a good rate. And the current one I have has electricity. It has an insulated garage door. It has a couple extra features that I would miss out if I downsize that. And so I'm just kind of paying for a little bit of that convenience. Now that I'm doing more clothing, I could move everything back into my house and into the garage and figure it out. But as of right now, it's a worthwhile expense for me to just have a little bit of separation, a little bit of extra workspace in the garage, especially with filming YouTube videos. Like, I wouldn't really want to be like crammed up on top of my boxes trying to make content for you guys. Pat says, "What about starting a store too early for me?" I would say you can actually Google when to get an eBay store, and they actually have a calculator based on how many listings you have, if it makes sense financially for you or not. And I would just go by that because there are some extra features you get with the store, but it's really about just saving the money at the beginning. You get, I think it's 250 free listings, and I would just use those and not worry about it until you get past 250, and then start to consider maybe getting a store. Latatia says, "Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you got your name right there, but nice to see you in the chat." Achilles says, "Can you explain what your photo setup is made of and what fabric you use on it?" I use an indoor outdoor rug from Home Depot. It's right there. That's why I'm moving out of the way. I actually used for the structure, I used the video from K&M Resell. Is it resale or resell? K&M Resell. I think it's resell. Go to their channel to get the structure of what I did. I used to use a foam insulation board and it worked fine, but the more I use it, the more it was bowing in the center. And I also had a hard time getting it lifted to the right height. So basically, it is a frame built of 2x4s with a piece of plywood on it. The plywood is a lot more firm, so it helps me with taking pictures without it bowing in the middle. And getting it higher off the ground has really helped my back. Wendy says, "I've done okay with Ralph Lauren performance golf polos." I agree. Uh, the performance lines in Ralph Lauren, and really most brands, if they have a performance line, that's going to be the best. Um, those are going to be the better items from that brand. But yeah, I agree. I've sold some of them. I still probably stick to the bigger sizes unless there was something unique about the performance polo in a like say like a medium or small. Um, but yeah, definitely the performance ones are good. AJ says, "What's the angle of the board?" You know what? Let me get my protractor out. I'm just kidding. I don't have a protractor. Let me see. I think it's a little more steep than a 45. So if a 45 is like this, I think it's like a little bit more. The fabric really grabs all types of fabrics other than like nylon and kind of like those swishy pants and stuff like that. And at that point, there's really no angle where it would stay. So you just got to use a hanger for those ones. Traymond says, "Is Roundtree and York performance any good?" Honestly, I've never really looked into it. I don't know if I've seen their performance stuff, to be honest. Somebody was trying to tell me that the Nua tags, it has like a 35% sell through rate, which to me is still lower than what I would want to go. But maybe if it was like at the bins Nua tags or like, on like a dollar day, I don't have a dollar day at my stores, but if I did have a dollar day, you know, I guess it's maybe a good like bread and butter type item. But honestly, for most people, unless you're like doing 30 listings a day and that fits your business model, I would say just leave it. Leave Roundtree and York behind. Achilles says, "What size of plywood is perfect for the different kinds of clothes?" So this was a 4x8 sheet that I had cut in half to 4x4 feet, 4 feet by 4 feet. You can actually see the other half is down below. See how I'm pointing there? That's the other half. So if I want to build a second photo station someday, I don't know why I'd need to do that, but you know, if I did, um, I feel like if I were to do it again, I probably would have left it like 6 feet long or maybe 5.5 feet long. It's kind of a give and take. I'm tall though, so it doesn't really bother me if I do need to reach up to the very top. Because the whole point is to save your back. So if you make it longer, it's harder to reach the top anyway. So the 4 feet by 4 feet kind of forces you to not overextend. But I guess if I had to do it again, and because I'm tall, it wouldn't really bother me that much. I'd probably make it like 5 feet or 5.5 feet. Because if I do 36-inch inseam jeans, which is one of the best sizes of jeans, it is a little bit tricky because it's the inseam's 36, but you also have to add the part for the seat and the buttons and whatever, and it does kind of hang off a little bit. Base card collector says, "Sold a Galvin Green Gore-Tex jacket for 170, found at the bins. Buyer got a great deal, sold in a week." That's amazing. I have never found that brand. I'm still waiting to find that brand. Definitely heard of it, but haven't found it. So that's an amazing find. Anything Gore-Tex, just look it up because I would say I've left Gore-Tex behind like maybe a handful of times ever when I found it. Usually adds enough value to make it worthwhile if it's at a reasonable thrift price, especially at the bins. Brenda says, "Do you cross post? If so, do you use a cross listing app?" Yes, I use Vendu for cross listing. I cross list to Poshmark currently. If you go to one of my other videos or once this stream ends, I'll go up and fix the description. I just was trying to get this going because of all the technical difficulties. But I usually have a link in my description of all my videos, and I will put one on this one once we're done. There's a link in there where you get I think it's 25% off a month of Vendu if you want to try it. The reason I like Vendu is they have automatic delist. So when something sells on Poshmark, it automatically delists it from eBay and vice versa. And that was really the only reason why I stopped listing on Poshmark like a year and a half ago. And once that feature kind of got the bugs out and was working, um, yeah, I was happy to get back on that. Pat says, "On feedback, when do you do that? Immediately or in a few days?" I have it set up to automatically send feedback. to buyers, and I literally never look at it or mess with the feedback. So I would just set that up to do it automatically. I don't know if that's a store feature, if that's just a eBay setting feature, but look into automatic feedback, and I would just set that up. It does help you get more positive feedback because when people see that you left them feedback, then they'll be like, "Oh, I should go leave them feedback." So especially if you're just starting out on eBay, I would recommend the automatic positive feedback for your buyers because you'll get your feedback built up quickly. Now I have like 3,500 or something like that positive feedback, so it doesn't really matter if I get any more or not. I have plenty of people that will vouch for my business at this point. All right, it's been 35 minutes. I'm going to go for a few more minutes. So if you have any questions, spam them in the chat, and I'm going to show you guys a couple of the things that I sourced today. My best find of the day was probably this Polo Sport hybrid puffer vest. The tag is kind of peeling off a little bit, but the rest of the vest is actually in perfect condition. And I don't know if they just didn't realize this was Polo Ralph Lauren because normally my thrift stores love to just go crazy on the polo pricing. Put this at like 25 bucks or something. But yeah, it was like 6 bucks, and my cost averaged out today to like just over 5 bucks per item. So I haven't looked this up because I just know it's good. But if I had to guess, I would say probably list it for 40 bucks a minimum. When I look it up, I wouldn't be surprised if it was more. So today I went to Goodwills that I don't normally go to, and the last one I went to left me right beside a Ross and a Marshalls. They used to source a lot more at those stores, but I don't really go anymore. But since I was right next door, I was like, heck yeah, I'll check out Ross and Marshalls. So I went into Ross and found one Tommy Bahama polo that was new for $15, but it was size small, and it was one from the factory store, not with like the retail tag on it. And there was a line, and I only found one item, so I put it back. I still think it would have been a decent item, but it wasn't worth like waiting in line for just one mediocre item. And then I went to Marshalls and I found three items that I bought. So I'll show you guys these three items real quick. I paid 10 bucks for these. This is a brand Onya. These Onya shorts. This is the land to water short. That's the model. Is that focusing? There we go. The sell-through rate was not good on these, but I know that because we're still heading towards summer, the sell-through rate will increase. And it was only 10 bucks, which retail arbitrage wise, that's pretty affordable. And they were selling for 30 to 40 bucks. Well, more like 25 to 40 bucks. So I think I'm going to list this for 30. Take 25 or more. But really nice size, nice brand. But the biggest thing was the sell-through rate wasn't great, but I know it's going to go up, and I needed a few more items to list today. So I just, from personal experience, know that that's going to be a decent item for me. Worst case scenario, I sell for 22, $25 and make my $10 to $15. All right, let's catch up here. Do you offer returns? Yes, I do buyer paid returns currently. So if the item doesn't fit or they don't like it, they can send it back, but they just have to pay the shipping both ways. If it's my fault, I pay the shipping both ways, and I'll, of course, accept the return if it's my mistake. Achilles says, is there a specific name the rug is called, and how much is it? You know what? I really don't know. It was in one of those like things that you buy like on your way towards the checkout, and I was like, hey, that looks like it's kind of grabby. But if you just go to Home Depot and type in indoor outdoor rug, I'm sure it's pretty basic. And I cut it down to size. So the one I got was like plenty big, and then I cut it down to the right size. AJ says, "Do you ever deny returns? If I have no returns on an item for whatever reason, and they don't have a good reason to return the item, it's not my mistake, then I would deny it. But since I offer returns, most of the stuff isn't really relevant to deny it because they can return it if they want. They just have to pay the shipping." The way I see it says, I was surprised how strongly some people on YouTube speak out against cross listing. It comes off very get off my lawn. Get off my lawn. I think it's good that people are opinionated here on YouTube because you don't have to go with every single one person's opinion. But if everybody was just like, kind of do what you want, then you can't really get somebody's insight or the points of what they're trying to make. To be honest, I'm not really for or against cross listing. I am still kind of up in the air on whether I'm going to go all in on cross listing or just stop completely. Right now, I'm kind of in between both of those, and I know that that's not helpful because I either need to go all in or stop completely so I can focus on eBay. But the one thing that I will say about cross listing is that I would really focus on becoming an eBay expert before considering cross listing. eBay is the longest platform, it's the tried and true, it's the most steady, it's the most consistent. Yes, there are things that we can complain about, but at the end of the day, it's a really good platform and it's been really stable and secure for I think 30 almost 30 years now. Is that how long it's been on there? Somebody fact check me on that. I think it was like 94 or 95 or something like that. I could be off, but anyway, they've been doing it long enough that I think they're going to be the main player for the foreseeable future. And I think it's really important to become an expert because once I really focused on learning eBay and how it works, I really made a lot more sales and made a lot more money on eBay. And so I think it's really important to make sure that you are focused on at least one platform, become an expert. If you sell women's clothing, maybe become a Poshmark expert. But if you're not an expert at anything within the reselling world, it just gets harder to kind of keep faking your way through so many different things. So I would say find something and become an expert in it, whether it's a category. But I would first of all say become an eBay expert, which I wouldn't say I'm necessarily an expert, but I'm trying to be. Pat says on returns, I believe you said you have it set up that if it's your fault, you pay, but if the buyer doesn't like it, they pay. Is that something anyone can set up? Yep. That's just called buyer pays returns. Buyer paid returns. Sorry. So when you go in to set your return policy, you're going to select buyer paid returns. Wendy says I usually go to Marshalls on Thursdays. That's when they mark stuff down. That's a good thing to know. I don't go to Marshalls enough to know when they mark stuff down, but that would be a good strategy for sure. Because if it's going to be there on Wednesday, you might as well wait till Thursday and get it discounted. Thursday is a heavy thrift day for me because of certain discounts of stores in my areas. So if I was happening to go by a Marshalls, I might have to check it out. Daddy Judd, what's up, man? Glad you're here. He says cross listing sucks. From someone that doesn't cross list. eBay has been around since 1904. Daddy Judd is a historian. That's funny. I hope it's 1994 because I think that's what I remember. And I was actually born in 1994, so I am the same age of eBay if that's the case. Fat Panda says, I have a very hairy Tags Ralph Lauren. Is there any way to put it in the dryer without messing up the tag? Trying to get the hair out, already used a lint roller. I do not have any good recommendations for you. Depending on the material, I know they make like a brush that you can use that's kind of like a different kind of technique than the lint roller. So chat's being funny. um, anyway, if you're trying to get it out, I would say don't put it in the dryer. I would rather list as is and disclose it rather than put it in the dryer and mess up a new tags items personally. But look into the brush. There's like a brush that you can get pet hair out with. That's kind of a different strategy than a lint roller. So if lint roller is not getting it all, or also like you might need to like get in there by hand. Like I know that's tedious, but it depends on how much you paid for it and how much it's worth. If it's not like that big of a deal, just list it as is and live with the result. Matney resells. What's up? What's up, Caleb? How are you? Do you mind sharing what camera you're currently using? Looks great. iPhone. It does look good. It's crazy. iPhone's crazy with the camera. I don't know which one I have. I don't know what number we're on, but I think it's 1 year old, but it is the Pro Max. So I think it's 15 Pro Max. That makes sense. All right, I'm going to catch up on the chat, show you these last two retail arbitrage items, and then hop off here. Since buyers pay returns, can you speak to if you think top rated plus makes a difference in sales? I would only do top rated plus if you were trying to get the fee discount. But in order to do that, you have to ship every single day. And I currently don't ship every day. So if I did ship every day, I would turn on free returns and just save that 10% on fees. But as far as the top rated plus for making more sales, I don't think it affects it at all. If you have good items, they're going to sell. Just don't like it always grinds my gears. Yeah, I mean, luckily, I don't really get offended by returns, but every once in a while there will be one that really gets me, and yeah, it's tough to deal with it sometimes. I'll be careful how I start my sentences, Brandon. I don't want to give anybody the wrong idea. Brenda says, "Do you tend to stick to your local thrift stores, or do you travel out of your area to source?" Um, I would say like I travel, but not like super far. So there's some thrift stores that I hit that are like 45 minutes away, which in my area is kind of far because there's not really traffic and you can get really far in 45 minutes. But that's kind of my radius that I'm currently going. But with how my sourcing went this week, 12 items in 5 hours, I might have to be extending my range a little bit. And that's okay. As long as I'm able to find good stuff, I don't mind driving a little bit more if I can find better stuff or lower my cost of goods or, whatever the case may be. Pat D says having some good luck with Carhartt and Wrangler work shirts 2XL and bigger. Yeah, those are great bread and butter items for me. I live in an area where workwear is, one of my bread and butter items as well. Um, Definitely like Carhartt is a good brand in most items, and they are pretty saturated in the regular sizes, so I think sticking to those bigger sizes is definitely a good call. Bo says, "What's going on? What's going on, Bo? Nice to see you in here." 12 items in 5 hours. What happened? Yeah, that happened. Total waste of time. It was a rough day. I was trying to make a video. I was like, this will be fun. I'll overcome my fear of filming in public. And I didn't have anything to film. It was rough. Brenda says, "Do you set a budget when sourcing?" I don't, because I'm just trying to get as many items as I can right now to hit my listing goal. I know that I list, approximately 140 items per week, and I know that my cost of goods is approximately between $6 and $7. So I know that worst case scenario, if I pay $7 per item for 140 items, my business can afford that. So I don't really overthink it much more than that. But if you don't have that cash flow, that is something that you need to be paying attention to. So that's just for me. I don't set a budget. I'm just trying to get my items. And part of the reason I can do that is because I have a high sell through rate store. So I'm getting the cash back from eBay very quickly. Achilles, this will be the last question. What's the height of your photo setup? Let's find out. So the bottom of the board is 35 inches off the ground, and I'm 6'2". So I would go. You can use that to go up and down. 35 inches. I'm 6'2". All right, I'm going to show you these last two retail arbitrage finds, Marshall's clearance finds. I paid 18 bucks for this. This is a Brooks Brothers XL seersucker. I play new with tags, retail arbitrage. Retail price 95 bucks. Beautiful colors. It's got the nice like color block on the seersucker. It's got pink and blue, white and blue, green and blue. Really cool shirt. Paid 18 bucks for that. I didn't comp it because I sold one similar that didn't have as many features and not of as good of a size for $43 earlier that morning. So I didn't even look it up. I just think it's about a $50 shirt if I had to guess. The other shirt I bought is also Brooks Brothers. I paid 14 for this one. This is a Regent fit, size 1834. I realized that the reason this was on clearance at Marshall's is because 34 is a very short sleeve compared to an 18-inch neck, which is a very big neck size. So this is kind of an odd size. But funny enough, when I typed in Brooks Brothers Regent 18-34 into eBay, had a 200% sell-through rate. So yeah, that's amazing. There were none that were listed that were new. So I'm probably going to set my own price on this. There was one sold that was new for like 80 and one sold that was new for like 60. The retail price on this is 92 bucks. So what I'm probably going to do is list this at like 70 bucks, 75 bucks. So yeah, 14 into 70, 60 even. I mean, 14 into 50. I mean, we'd all be doing that at the thrift. So I was really stoked to find those at Marshall's. Honestly, at my thrift store, that's probably about what I would have ended up paying at the thrift store. And I probably would have picked them up anyway. So, all right, I'm going to catch up on the chat and then sign off here. Resale Brothers in the chat. Love the live content with a crying face. Oh, I'm so bummed it didn't work out. If you weren't here earlier, I was supposed to be live with Resale Brothers, but StreamYard crashed right before we went live, and it was not recovering, and I didn't want to waste any more of their time because I know they are busy individuals on the reselling grind. So I just hopped on here so that the people were waiting had a place to go and could answer some questions. But we are going to reschedule with them and have an amazing stream talking about the difference between part-time and full-time reselling, and even beyond full-time reselling, creating a sustainable business that's bigger than ourselves as just resellers. Latatia says, if you had to start over from scratch, what would you do differently? If I start over from scratch, I would focus on sell-through rate from the beginning, try to find, source, and sell items that sell fast at the beginning. I think I did that by accident when I was first starting, but then I had a part in the middle of my reselling business where I didn't really know what that was, and I just was buying lots and lots and lots of stuff. And now that's really the only thing I'm looking at. And if I would have started at this place, I could have grown way bigger by now, just focusing on items that sell fast, keeping more cash in my pocket instead of in storage unit in random items that are never going to sell. Achilles says it hurts to look at because of all the lines. Yeah, I hope that the colors can come through on the photo for that one because it really is a beautiful shirt in person. But if you look at it a little too long, it can you can start seeing stars. Wendy says I would tag the Brooks Brothers eclectic grandpa. That I'm gonna check out those keywords. Maybe eclectic grandpa is a good keyword. I don't know. Definitely colorful. Definitely seersucker. Definitely color block. Those will all be in my title for sure. Fat Panda says worst returns are on day 28. Yeah, they probably just use the item for 20 days and then send it back, but it's part of the business. My return rate is relatively low. I should look at what it is. I don't even look because it's so infrequent. I don't even think about it. I don't really pay much attention to it. When I get it back, I just relist the item. It's not like I'm out completely. They paid for shipping both ways. I relist the item. If it sold once, it'll sell again, hopefully quickly. So no sweat off my back. It's 3:21 here on the East Coast. I still got to make it to the post office, take some pictures, do my listings. So I appreciate you guys being here. Sorry for the technical difficulties again. I appreciate you coming anyway, hanging out. And I'm going to reschedule with Resell Brothers. We're going to be on there. We're going to have an amazing live stream. So be on the lookout for that coming up. And I love to see you there and hoping to get a video out later this week as well. So until then, we'll see you guys and have a wonderful day. Have a blessed day. And yeah, let's crush it.